Welcome back for another deep dive.
Sure.
Today, we're going to be looking at the world of Alfred Adler and his individual psychology.
Okay.
Our source material is The Individual Psychology of Alfred Adler by Heinz Ansbacher.
Cool.
It's a summary,
Okay.
but it really breaks down his ideas in a way that I think is really insightful and surprisingly relatable.
Yeah.
One of the things that really stuck out to me was this idea of lifestyle, like our own unique blueprint for navigating life.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating how Adler believed our early experiences,
Right.
especially within our families, really shaped this blueprint that we carry with us.
Yeah, it's really interesting how Adler diverged from like the Freudian thinking of the time.
Okay.
So Freud was very focused on the unconscious and, past traumas.
Right.
But Adler, he really believed our drive for social connection and purpose were way more significant, shaping who we become.
So instead of being driven by, these hidden conflicts, you're saying we're pulled forward by this desire for belonging and meaning.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty significant shift in perspective.
For sure. For sure.
Where does this idea of the inferiority complex fit into all of this?
Okay.
I've always kind of thought of it as a negative thing.
Right.
But the source material presented it in kind of a different light.
Yeah, the inferiority complex for Adler, it wasn't about feeling inadequate.
Okay.
It was a universal human experience.
Interesting.
It's that feeling of not being enough
Uh-huh.
that fuels our desire to grow, to overcome challenges,
Right.
and ultimately reach our full potential.
Okay.
It's the seed of our motivation.
So I'm starting to see how this all kind of ties together.
Yeah.
This drive to kind of overcome our shortcomings.
Yeah.
Is that what he called striving for superiority?
Exactly, striving for superiority.
But it's not about ego or dominating others.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It was about striving to be the best version of ourselves, to fulfill our unique potential, and to contribute to something larger than ourselves.
So it's not about climbing over others to reach the top.
No.
It's about reaching our own personal summit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
How does this play out in everyday life, though?
Well, that's where compensation comes in.
Okay.
We all have areas where we feel less confident.
Right.
So we develop ways to compensate for these perceived inferiorities.
Okay.
Some of these compensations can be healthy, like pushing ourselves to learn a new skill or stepping outside of our comfort zone.
Right. Pushing ourselves to grow.
Exactly.
Okay.
But some can be unhealthy, like overcompensating with arrogance or putting others down to make ourselves feel better.
So that seems to contradict the whole social connection piece.
Yeah, you've hit on a key point.
Okay.
Adler believed that the way we compensate is deeply influenced by our level of social interest.
Okay.
Social interest for Adler was the glue that holds society together. It's about feeling a sense of belonging, contributing to the common good, and having empathy for others.
So those with a strong sense of social interest,
Right.
they're more likely to choose those healthy compensations
Exactly.
that benefit themselves and the community.
Right.
Versus those who lack it, who are more prone to maybe being harmful to others.
Exactly.
So this makes me think about how we even define success then.
Yeah.
Is it about individual achievement?
Right.
Or is it about contributing to something bigger than ourselves?
That's a question that Adler wrestled with throughout his work.
Okay.
He believed that true success was measured not just by our personal accomplishments,
Right.
but by our contributions to society
Okay.
and our ability to connect with others in a meaningful way.
So if we're striving for superiority, compensating for inferiorities,
Yeah.
all while trying to navigate this social interest,
Right.
how do we make sense of it all?
That's where lifestyle comes in.
Okay.
He believed that each of us develops this unique pattern of behaviors and thoughts, a lifestyle that we use to navigate the world.
So our own personal way of moving through the world.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this lifestyle is profoundly shaped by our early experiences,
Okay.
particularly within our family.
So let's talk about that family dynamic piece.
Okay.
You mentioned family dynamics playing a big role in shaping this.
Absolutely.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, Adler was particularly interested in birth order and how it influences our lifestyle.
Okay.
For instance, he observed that firstborns being the center of attention early on, they often develop strong leadership qualities.
Right.
However, they can also be prone to anxiety,
Interesting.
especially when a younger sibling arrives and that attention shifts.
As a firstborn, I can relate to that.
Right.
What about other birth orders?
Sure. So middle children
Right.
having to navigate between older and younger siblings.
Right.
They often become skilled negotiators and peacemakers.
Okay.
They're adaptable and excel at building relationships.
So they're like the diplomats of the family.
Exactly.
What about the youngest child?
So youngest children, they can be more carefree, outgoing.
Yeah.
They've been the baby of the family. They might have received more attention, more leniency.
Yeah.
But they can also feel pressure to live up to the achievements of their older siblings.
Oh, that's interesting.
And only children.
Right. Where do they fit in?
Only children not having to compete for attention.
Okay.
They often develop really strong self-reliance and confidence.
Makes sense.
However, they might also be more sensitive to criticism.
Oh, yeah.
Or have difficulty sharing or cooperating with others.
Right.
Now, these are just general tendencies.
Of course. Yeah.
Every individual is unique.
Absolutely.
Personality is shaped by so many factors beyond just birth order.
This is giving me a lot to think about.
Yeah.
It really highlights how our early experiences,
Right.
even something as simple as birth order,
Exactly.
can have such a lasting impact on who we become.
Yeah.
Did Adler just theorize about this, or did he actually apply it?
That's a great question. It leads us to another fascinating aspect of his work.
Okay.
He didn't just want to understand the human psyche.
Okay.
He wanted to help people.
Right.
Use that understanding to improve their lives.
I like that.
He developed a therapeutic approach
Okay.
known as Adlerian therapy.
Before we jump into that,
Okay.
I think it's time to take a step back and reflect on what we've learned so far.
Okay.
I mean, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From Adler's departure from Freudian thought
Yeah.
to this idea of the inferiority complex,
Mhm.
striving for superiority,
Yes.
compensation, social interest,
Mhm.
and then, of course, this fascinating concept of lifestyle
Exactly.
and how our early family dynamics, particularly birth order,
Yeah,
can shape our approach to life.
for sure.
It's a lot to process.
It is. It really highlights the depth and complexity of his work.
Right. He wasn't just interested in analyzing the human psyche.
Exactly.
He wanted to help people use that understanding to actually make positive changes in their lives. And that's a great point because it kind of ties into a question that I had.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the theoretical side of Adler's ideas.
Yeah.
But how did he actually put these ideas into practice?
Right?
Did he develop any therapeutic techniques based on these principles?
He did.
Okay.
Adlerian therapy is a unique approach
Okay.
that focuses on encouraging individuals to identify their unique lifestyle patterns
Okay.
and then work towards positive change.
So it's about helping people understand their own blueprint
Yeah,
and then giving them the tools to make adjustments and create positive change.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
That sounds very empowering.
It is one of the key principles is encouragement.
Okay.
Adler believed that everyone has the potential for growth.
Wow.
And that by focusing on their strengths and supporting their efforts,
Mhm.
we can help people overcome challenges and live more fulfilling lives.
It's a powerful idea, and it seems to tie back into that social interest piece as well.
Yes.
This idea that we all have the capacity to contribute to the common good.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the common good,
Yeah.
Adler was also a big believer in the power of education.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He saw education as a crucial tool for personal and societal growth.
Okay.
He believed that supportive learning environments
Yeah.
could help children develop a strong sense of belonging, nurture their potential,
Right.
and ultimately contribute to a more just and compassionate society.
So he wasn't just focused on individual therapy,
No.
but also on creating systems and environments that foster growth and well-being on a larger scale.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. It makes me wonder,
Yeah.
how do these ideas translate to the world today?
Right.
I mean, are Adler's theories still relevant in the 21st century?
That's a great question and one that we'll dive deeper into in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Adler's ideas, they're surprisingly relevant today.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, think about our current cultural landscape, right?
Yeah.
We're bombarded with messages about individual success competition, striving to be the best.
Yeah.
But Adler, he reminds us that true fulfillment, it doesn't come from external validation.
Okay.
It comes from a sense of belonging, purpose, contribution to something larger than ourselves.
That's right. It's almost like a countercultural movement to what we see and hear every day.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does this idea of social interest and connection
Right.
really fit in with the modern world's focus on individualism?
That is the paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
We live in a hyper-connected world,
Yeah,
yet rates of loneliness and isolation are on the rise.
it's true.
Adler would argue that true connection It goes beyond just surface-level interactions or social media followers.
Okay.
It's about feeling a genuine sense of belonging, contributing to something meaningful,
Okay.
and fostering empathy and understanding with others.
So it's not about the quantity of connections, but the quality.
Exactly.
That reminds me of something you said earlier about psychology as a tool for social change.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. For Adler, you see, understanding the human psyche wasn't just about individual therapy.
Right.
It was about using that knowledge to create a more just and compassionate society.
So not just about the individual, but about the whole.
Exactly.
Ugly.
He believed that by understanding our own motivations and striving for social interests,
Right.
we could build a world where everyone feels valued, respected,
Okay.
empowered to contribute their unique talents.
This makes me think about his ideas on education.
Yes.
We touched on this a bit before the break.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear more about how he believed these principles could apply in a school setting.
Right. So Adler saw education as more than just academic achievement.
Okay.
He envisioned schools as communities where students learn not only facts and figures,
Yeah.
but also essential social and emotional skills.
Interesting.
So imagine a classroom where collaboration and cooperation are prioritized over competition. Students are encouraged to identify their strengths,
Okay.
to contribute to the group, and a sense of belonging and purpose is fostered for every child.
Okay, so that feels like such a shift from the traditional model of education,
It is.
where we often see a focus on individual performance and standardized testing.
Exactly. Adler believed that by nurturing social interest and encouraging a sense of community,
Right.
within schools we could create a more equitable and supportive learning environment for all students,
Okay.
setting them up for success not just academically,
Yeah.
but in all aspects of life.
This reminds me of some of the modern movements in education.
Yeah,
Things like social-emotional learning and restorative justice.
absolutely. It's incredible how far ahead of his time he was.
Yeah, it really is. So it sounds like his ideas continue to inspire educators and psychologists even today.
They do. His work has influenced everything from parenting practices to workplace dynamics,
Okay.
really demonstrating the lasting relevance of his insights into human behavior and the importance of social connection.
It's remarkable how these concepts developed, nearly a century ago.
Right.
Still hold so much weight and offer such valuable guidance
Yeah.
for navigating the complexities of modern life.
For sure.
But I'm curious, if Adler were alive today,
Yeah.
what do you think he would say about the state of the world?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I imagine he'd be both concerned and hopeful.
Yep.
I think he would likely acknowledge the challenges that we face,
Right.
The rise of individualism, the increasing polarization of society,
Yeah,
the struggles many face in finding purpose and meaning in a rapidly changing world.
for sure.
But I also believe he'd be optimistic about our potential for positive change.
Okay.
Remember, at the core of his work
Yeah.
was a belief in the fundamental goodness of human nature
Right.
and our innate capacity for growth, connection, and contribution.
That's a reassuring thought.
Yeah,
It's easy to get bogged down by the negativity,
it is.
but remembering that we have the power to choose a different path,
Yeah,
to focus on building those connections and contributing to something larger than ourselves
exactly.
is very empowering.
It is. I think Adler would encourage us to start by looking inward, to examine our own lifestyle patterns,
Yeah.
identify our strengths and areas for growth,
Right.
and ask ourselves, how can we use our unique gifts to make a positive impact on the world?
So it's not about waiting for someone else to fix things.
No?
It's about taking ownership of our own lives
Exactly.
and recognizing that we have the power to create change.
Exactly. Adler believed that each of us has a responsibility to contribute to the well-being of society.
Okay.
And this doesn't have to be grand gestures.
Right.
It can be as simple as, choosing kindness in our daily interactions,
Yeah.
supporting our local communities, or advocating for causes we believe in.
It all adds up.
Exactly.
This deep dive has really been thought-provoking.
Yeah.
I'm finding myself reflecting on my own lifestyle patterns and how they might be influencing my interactions with the world.
It's amazing how exploring these concepts
Right.
can spark such personal reflection
Yeah.
and inspire a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world.
It's almost like we've been given this new lens through which to view ourselves,
Yeah.
the people around us.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of Adler's work.
Yeah.
It's not just about understanding psychological concepts.
Right.
It's about using that knowledge to live more fulfilling, meaningful, and connected lives.
Speaking of connection,
Yeah.
we've talked about a lot of different concepts today.
Right.
But I'm noticing this recurring theme, this idea that we're all interconnected.
Yeah.
And our actions have an impact on those around us.
You've hit on one of the most powerful takeaways from Adler's work.
Okay.
He believed that individual well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of society as a whole.
Right.
Our actions, no matter how small,
Right.
they ripple outwards, influencing those around us and shaping the world that we live in.
So we're not just passive bystanders in our own lives. We're active participants in shaping the world around us.
Exactly. And that sense of agency, that understanding that we have the power to make a difference, it can be incredibly motivating and inspiring.
This has really expanded my understanding
Yeah.
of human motivation and this importance of social connection.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to see how these ideas can be applied in my own life.
That's great.
In my relationships and in my interactions with the wider world.
That's wonderful to hear.
It's inspiring to see how, exploring these concepts can lead to these personal insights and a renewed sense of purpose.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling a renewed sense of curiosity about the world
Yeah.
and a desire to explore how I can contribute to something larger than myself.
That's the spirit of Adler's work coming to life.
Yeah.
He believed that by understanding ourselves and embracing our social nature, we could create a more just compassionate and fulfilling world for everyone.
Before we wrap up, I want to go back to that concept of lifestyle for a moment. We discussed how it's shaped by early experiences.
Right.
Especially within our families.
Yeah.
But are we destined to live out these patterns forever?
That's a great question.
Or can we actually change our lifestyle, even as adults?
That's a question that speaks to the empowering nature of Adler's work.
Okay.
While our early experiences are definitely influential in shaping our lifestyle, Adler believed that we're not simply products of our past.
Yeah.
We have the capacity for self-awareness, reflection, and ultimately change.
So it's not about erasing our past.
No.
But rather understanding how it has shaped us. And then making conscious choices to move forward.
Exactly.
In a way that aligns with our values and goals.
Precisely.
So how do we actually go about making these changes?
Right. So therapy can be incredibly helpful here.
Okay.
Adlerian therapists, they work with individuals to help them uncover their lifestyle patterns. Understand how those patterns might be holding them back. And develop new strategies for living more fulfilling and authentic lives.
It sounds like it's about becoming the author of our own story.
Yeah.
Rather than just continuing to follow the script we were handed in childhood.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we have the power to shape our own destinies.
Okay.
And to create lives that are meaningful, purposeful, and connected to something larger than ourselves.
This has been such an enlightening conversation.
Yeah.
I'm feeling inspired to learn more about Adlerian therapy.
Yeah.
And how it can help people tap into their potential for growth and change.
It's a fascinating field of study.
Yeah.
And one that offers valuable tools for personal development and self-discovery.
I'm already thinking about all the ways these concepts can apply in everyday life. From improving communication in my relationships to fostering a greater sense of purpose in my work.
That's the power of Adler's work. It's not just theoretical. It's incredibly practical and relevant to all aspects of human experience.
This deep dive has been a true journey of discovery.
It has.
I'm grateful to have had you as my guide.
It's been a pleasure.
Before we wrap things up,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your final thoughts on the enduring legacy of Alfred Adler.
Okay.
And what his work offers us today.
Adler's legacy lies in his unwavering belief in the human potential for growth, connection, and contribution. He offered a framework for understanding ourselves, not just as individuals, but as social beings interconnected with our communities and the world around us.
Yeah.
His work reminds us that true fulfillment, it doesn't come from isolation and self-interest.
Okay.
It comes from embracing our shared humanity. And working together to create a more just compassionate and meaningful world for all.
That's a powerful message to carry with us.
It is.
As we continue to explore this world of individual psychology.
Yes.
And apply these insights to our own lives.
Absolutely.
Adler's ideas are so powerful.
Yeah.
This idea that we can change and grow and connect with others in a meaningful way.
It's really inspiring.
But before we wrap up our deep dive into individual psychology, I want to circle back to this idea of lifestyle one last time.
Okay, sure.
We've talked about how it's our unique blueprint for navigating life.
Right.
And how it's shaped by our early experiences. But can we actually reshape this blueprint as adults?
That's a great question.
Is it possible to break free from those ingrained patterns?
Yeah.
Even those that might not be serving us anymore?
That question really gets at the heart of Adler's empowering message, which is that we're not simply prisoners of our past. Our early experiences, they lay the foundation.
Yeah.
But we have this capacity for self-awareness, for reflection, and ultimately the ability to rewrite parts of our lifestyle.
Okay.
To better align with our values and goals.
So it's not about erasing those early experiences.
No, not at all.
But rather understanding how they've shaped us.
Right.
And making conscious choices to move forward in a more fulfilling direction.
Precisely.
Okay, but how do we actually go about making those changes?
Yeah, it can be a daunting task for sure.
Right.
But that's where Adlerian therapy comes in.
Okay.
It provides a framework for uncovering those deeply ingrained lifestyle patterns. Understanding how they might be holding us back.
Okay.
And developing new strategies for living more authentically and intentionally.
For someone listening, thinking about their own lifestyle.
Yeah.
What might be some signs that certain patterns aren't serving them anymore?
That's a great question.
What should we be looking for?
Some common signs might be recurring relationship challenges.
Okay.
Persistent feelings of dissatisfaction or inadequacy.
Right.
Or a sense of being stuck in a rut.
Okay.
Unable to reach your full potential.
Yeah, like those things that keep popping up over and over again?
Exactly. Those could be indicators that some aspects of your lifestyle need a closer look.
So if someone recognizes these signs in themselves, what would be the next step?
Seeking out an Adlerian therapist can be incredibly beneficial. They can provide guidance and support as you embark on this journey of self-discovery and transformation.
So finding a professional to kind of help you through that process.
Exactly. Therapy can help you unpack those lifestyle patterns, challenge those limiting beliefs, and develop new, healthier ways of interacting with the world.
It sounds like it's about becoming the architect of your own life.
Yeah.
Rather than just passively living out the blueprint you were given.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we have the power to make choices, to shape our own destinies, and to create lives that are filled with meaning, purpose, and genuine connection.
As we start to wrap up this deep dive, what are some key takeaways that you hope listeners will carry with them?
I hope listeners will walk away with a deeper understanding of themselves and their own unique lifestyle patterns. I also hope they'll recognize the power of social interest. Right.
And how striving for connection and contribution can lead to a more fulfilling life. And lastly, I hope they'll feel empowered by the knowledge that they have the capacity to change, to grow, and to create a life that truly aligns with their deepest values and aspirations.
This has been such an insightful conversation.
It has.
I'm walking away with a renewed sense of curiosity about the world.
Yeah.
A deeper appreciation for the importance of connection. And honestly, just a sense of optimism about the potential for positive change.
That's great.
Within myself and within society as a whole.
Yeah, it's been a true pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise.
I encourage listeners to continue their own exploration of Adler's work. And see how these powerful concepts can be applied in their own lives.
And for those who want to dive even deeper, we highly recommend checking out the full book by Heinz L. Ansbacher.
Absolutely.
The Individual Psychology of Alfred Adler.
It's a great read.
Yeah, it really is. It's a treasure trove of insights.
That can transform the way you view yourself and the world around you.
For sure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.